A charter challenge gets underway today that'll test the constitutionality of a controversial Ontario law. The law that was introduced back in 2022 allows hospitals to put patients into long-term care homes that are not of their choosing. As part of the legislation, if the patient refuses, they could face hundreds of dollars in fines a day. Clara Pasieka joins me now from the University Avenue Courthouse. And Clara, this of course has been controversial from the beginning. So walk us through what we're expecting at court today.
Chris, this morning the judge began hearing arguments challenging the constitutionality of Bill 7. They're representing the organizations, first up, the Ontario Health Coalition and the Advocacy Centre for the Elderly. Lawyers representing that side began presenting their arguments. This is something that they have been very opposed to for some time before bringing forward this legal challenge. The point of this bill is that it moves patients from hospital to long-term care homes, not necessarily of their choosing, and sometimes a significant distance away. If you're in southern Ontario, it could be up to 70 kilometers away. If you're in northern Ontario, up to 150 kilometers away. And if a patient refuses to move, they could face a fine of up to $400 a day. We know this has been used multiple times. It was back in April where the government told CBC they'd already moved some 20,000 patients. So it affects a significant number of people. We had the chance to speak to one family directly affected by this, a woman whose husband was told that he needed to move. She had this to say.
So many families are in the same position that I'm in, and they're going through grief, shock, and being mad at this whole system, that they feeling like they had no control. They were just pushed through a system, and the hospitals were just happy to get rid of them. And that's how I think there's so many families out there that are going through exactly what I did, but they don't have a voice. They just have to sit back and say we've lost them and grieve like I did. And it's got to stop.
And we had the chance to speak with multiple people who want to see this challenged successfully, including the head of the Ontario Health Coalition, Natalie Mira. She says that she thinks they have a really good case.
We feel we have a really strong case. It's very clear that this law targets elderly patients and deprives them of rights that every other patient enjoys. And the reason is that there are not enough hospital beds and there aren't enough long-term care beds, not a choice of the patients whatsoever, and it's a policy choice that can obviously be changed.
Now, the judge has asked their side tough questions, including questioning why, certain experts were included that aren't necessarily directly impacted or have their patients directly impacted. There's also been some sparring over definitions that are being used. So certainly some tough questions coming from the judge there. The government side, who we'll hear more from shortly about their arguments, but so far they've argued the legislation is working, pointing to several hospital administrators who have said that without the law, more acute beds would be occupied by patients who do not require that level of care, and that would increase patient wait times for everyone. So we're expected to hear more from the government side of things very soon in this case that is expected to continue into tomorrow.
And a lot of families watching very closely to see how it unfolds. Clara Pasieka for us outside the University Avenue Court. Thank you, Clara.